Hello, lovelies. Welcome to another episode. I am so excited for today. I want to wish you a fabulous, fantastic, and most romantical Valentine's Day. In today's episode, I am going to offer things to help you address any lack of desire, any intimacy blindness that you might have going on in your relationship, or anything that might be getting in the way for you from you experiencing your connection, your love, your passion, and from really creating the relationship that you desire. So, we're going to cover things. I'm going to give you insights and practical takeaways to help you rekindle your love, deepen your connection, enhance your intimacy, and keep the spark alive. Stay tuned. You're in for a treat. So, welcome to another episode. I am so excited for today. I am going to cover the topic of love from a more intimacy, fun, sparkly place today. And I'm going to break this down into three parts. The first one is going to be talking about five culprits to desire and intimacy. So I'm going to cover five areas that might get in the way of feeling more sexy and available and ready to have fun with your partner just because of the way life is. Right. So those five. Then I'm going to give you more of a specific thing that might be happening in your relationship, more dynamic and relational in nature, and what to do about that and how to address that to also help in this area. And finally, we're going to talk about how to nurture love depending on what kind of love your relationship needs. So first we're going to assess that, and then I'm going to give you specifics, very practical takeaways on how to nurture whatever it is, how to address whatever it is that you need in your relationship, the type of love that you need. We're going to help you put that in place. Okay. So loads of content. Stay tuned. Grab a pen and paper if you need it. I am going to give you all kinds of goodies today. And in the name of Valentine's Day, we want to really take this in so that we could continue to have an amazing month of love and thereafter, like I like to usually say. Okay, so here we go. What are the five culprits of desire? The first one is exhaustion, right? That's almost like a no brainer. And before I jump into that, I actually want to highlight something to take into consideration before you dive into doing more behavioral, lifestyle, relational changes. And that is to be aware that there might be something physical going on, right? So if you're finding that you're having a hard time performing, whether your whatever organs you have, male, female, or whatever, to get yourself checked out. Are your hormones working properly? Is your blood flow working properly? Is your heart okay? Just whatever, right? So check it out. And even more mechanical, like is your back okay? Yeah, or some, is your movement, range of movement okay? So whatever it is, if you have pain, if you're just having a hard time taking care of business and having fun, get a physical, see the proper doctors to help you assess if there's anything that needs to be addressed outside from psychological, relational, spiritual, energetic, and everything else that I'm going to try to offer you today. Okay. So take care of business from that side, get the clean bill of health. So rule out anything else that might be going on. Medicines impact also just how things operate in libido and things like that. So that's number one. Then number two, we're going to play with what I'm going to offer today. All right. Okay, so going back to exhaustion, we want to do a little bit of a shift from all the doing that we do to more of a recharging approach to life and how we do our life. Now, I hear what you might be thinking about this as I say that. It's like, well, heck, how am I going to do that? My life is so busy. I have so much stuff going on. I get it. Believe me, I get it. Right. So, what we want to do here is stay open minded to the ideas that I'm going to offer you because you will find that you will have excuses, resistance, explanations for why you can't do these things. And you will find that you're trying to make a case for keeping these things, right? Or for why you can't change them. And I promise you, if you stay a little open minded, you will be able to make changes to these five culprits if any of them are fit for you, if they're part of what's going on for you in your life. you just have to stay open-minded and target it and play with it. Okay, so I'm going to give you things of what to do, how to do it, and you play with it to your heart's content, as much or as little as you like. If any of these resonate for you, take it or leave. It's up to you. The more that you take in, obviously, the nicer the shift that you could make, the bigger and the faster and the more that it sticks around. And so it's up to you. How do you want to receive this? All right. And so I know that we're very busy, that we have a lot of things going on, and that we run from one thing to the next, and we rush, and we're jam packed. Our schedule and our day and our routines are loaded with things, responsibilities, commitments, running around, taking care of business. And so, what I want to offer, and I offer this a lot in all the content. I'm sure you've heard me say this if you follow me or if you work with us, that we want to move from being a human doing to a human being. All right. We want to create more leisure, more spaciousness, more flow in our routines, in our lifestyle. We want to make sure that we are not running ourselves ragged. We want to make sure that we are not spending ourselves, that we're not burning ourselves out. Okay. And so look at what your day looks like, how packed is it, and see what things you could get rid of. What can you streamline, delegate, outsource, scratch, and say to yourself, like, why the heck am I doing this thing? This thing is just a killer of energy and time and resources. You got to go. Right. So be brutal with this, because you will find that a little bit of time and space that you create in there automatically would allow your body to start recharging and replenishing, right? If you don't have it constantly on high alert and going. Something else about that is that if you're not operating from a high alert place, right, your nervous system is not constantly activated, it's in fight, flight, or freeze mode constantly. Like, if when you're in that place all the time, you're really wearing yourself down. Like, you're really doing some damage to your body and to your life. So when you create a little bit of space, you will find that you activate your parasympathetic nervous system. And from that place, all your resources come online. You see? So deep breathing and just creating a little bit more space will help you do that. And therefore, you're automatically resourcing yourself. You see, it doesn't have to be that challenging. Just create the environment for it. Baby steps, stop getting rid of things. And I'm actually going to say more. Right now, just lining up the 5 culprits, and then I'm going to give you a little bit more of what to do with each one of them, on how to fix it. Okay, so that was number 1. Number 2 is domesticity, not being too domestic, right? So with the first one, if you're exhausted, obviously it's hard to feel sexy, to engage, to have the energy for being intimate and for playing and all that kind of stuff. When you're too domestic, what happens is that you're squashing the attraction and the sexiness factor between the partners, right? Between yourself and your partner. You are in a role, partner, wife, husband, boyfriend, girlfriend. And I'm saying in duality like that just to make life simple, okay? I understand that people have different genders, different couple structures, different family things. So just I am offering the more traditional opposites just to make points, but I know that there's a whole range and there's a whole thing that people identify with and that they play out in their lives, and that's totally fine. Just translate it so that it fits you, okay? When you hear me use binary language, then translate it for yourself in terms of where what applies to you, and know that when I use that language, I'm actually referring to the whole spectrum, okay? And so when we're very domestic, then we're playing out roles that come along with however we identify ourselves, whatever things we pick up in the home. Our roles could be more gender specific and traditional, or not so much, but there's still roles involved. Like, I'm the caretaker of these things, I'm the caretaker of those things, right? There are things that we play out. Um, Mom, dad, right? And so we are in our roles, we are in our identities, and we are in that way that we look at ourselves. That is like a cover on the essence of who we are. The essence of who we are, energy, is where the attraction is, right? That's where, and we usually we tend to polarize with our partner in terms of that energy. But when we're in roles, all that stuff gets muted. Just the roles are interacting and having a relationship and connecting. And it doesn't really work out that well because the attraction can be felt, you see? It becomes about talking about the doing and just being in the thinking place and being mechanical. And we don't get to fully show up with our energy and with our awesomeness and with our radiance and with our chemistry and with just the yumminess. That's what that creates the attraction, right? And so I'm going to give you an anecdote for this when I move on to the second part of this part. Okay, so that was number two, domesticity. Number three is expectations. So with the roles come all the expectations, and even outside of the roles, we have expectations of our partner, of our relationship, of our commitment, of our marriage, of just being a person, right? We have things that we like, that we prefer, that we want, that we expect. And so we have those beliefs and thoughts running around. And if our partner is not aware of our expectations and the things that we would like and how they would meet our needs and that would create joy in our life and that would work for us, how are they supposed to meet them on one hand? On the other hand, it's not their job to make us happy and to take care of all those things for us, right? So let's not get hung up here with that observation. The point is there's a whole tangent there. Okay. So we want to meet each other's needs and take care of each other and be nice to each other because we want to, not because we have to. So there's a whole other conversation about that. But for this segment of the conversation is when we have those expectations and we impose them knowingly or unknowingly, or whether our partner knows it or not, we create funny business, you see. So first of all, they might not know any of that. So whether they want to do that for us or not is irrelevant because they're going to fall flat on their face regardless because they're not aware of what they're supposed to be offering us or providing us or giving us or delighting us with. And if they do know, they might not be interested in doing some other things. And then why is that held over their head? They don't owe us anything. And that language might get you. We are in a relationship because we want to, and we're making a commitment, and it's a choice. And for the mindset around relationship enrichment and success, creating a successful relationship, check out the podcast that I did a couple of months ago. It was called 10 Tactics to Ensure Everlasting Love in Your Relationship and in Your Life. In that, I go through all the whole relationship mindset, how to look at this. So if you're getting tripped up with some of the things that I'm saying, you're like, what the heck? No, that's not right. I don't believe that in my relationship. So some of the beliefs that you might have might be getting you, right? So check out that podcast if you're finding that some of the things that I'm saying are, you're like, wait, what? If they feel foreign to you, or if you're having a strong reaction, just check it out, right? Because I explained it really well in that podcast that sets up what is a relationship mindset that's helpful to have to create the relationship that you want. A lot of times, the things that we think that we should think and that we think, they just sets us up for failure. So they don't know us anything per se. They want to please us and take care of us and be loving and nurturing and all these nice things. And so it would be nice if they knew what those expectations were and also to have a say on the things that are desired from us and vice versa, obviously. So that they could contribute to what we would like to get, either in the way that we would like it, or it could be massaged between the two of us. And so we get what we want and they give also something that they're able to give. You see, because sometimes we make these demands and our partners either is really against them or they really can't. And then we're setting ourselves up and them. So it's not fair to anybody. So just tweaking that. First of all, like making the expectations be known. And then secondly, playing together so that the expectations can be met properly Yay, right? So with that, we quiet down all the noise that we have running in our head and all of the potential resentment and other feelings that might come up because the expectations weren't being met. And both those feelings and those thoughts get in the way of being able to relax and feel good feelings and show up properly to intimate moments for them to be able to happen. And this is very especially true for women, the more female partner, because our brain gets really active and it's very hard for us to relax and quiet that down and be able to get in our bodies and be available for more intimacy. And so, very important to address this so that all of that could quiet down and then we could show up better to interactions. Okay. So that was number 3. Number 4 is enmeshment. Now, enmeshment means that we're too close. And let me clarify that. Some people who are experiencing distance in their relationship or disconnection, they might be like, well, what's wrong with that? That sounds kind of cool. And I promise you, that's not what you want. That is not the definition of connection and intimacy and closeness. So, enmeshment means imagine that your fingers are interlaced. And if you try to move your hands around, they can't go very far because the hands are kind of stuck together. And each hand is a partner. And when you're doing that, there's only so much visibility that you have from one part of the hand, from like what the pinky's doing to what the thumb is doing. Right? You can't see very much what's going on. And so the connection might feel close because you're all intertwined, but it's also limiting because you can't really see the whole thing. And you really can't interact and fully experience the whole thing. But now imagine uninterlock your fingers, close your fists gently, not too tight, and then put your fingers touching the other fingers from the other hand. So touch your hands together like as if you're making a heart. So your fists are touching each other. And now rotate your hands all around. And you can see that the pinky could go all the way around and see what the thumb is doing, and your whole hand could touch all the other fingers. Right? One hand, the fingers of one hand could connect and touch and feel the fingers of the other hand, all of them. You could rotate around and all of it could be known. So when you are close and intimate and connected, you have the opportunity to have those hands closed and touch and be able to move all around and know all of your partner on the other side and vice versa. So when you operate from that place, you will really know and connect with your partner and likewise to your partner with you, and you're not too close for comfort. You're able to really feel and experience all of the other, and they could experience all of you without feeling like you're having friction and that you're limited and stuck. So what we want to do there is we don't want to be too close to be able to feel the allure between us. When we're too close, we're like we almost need a breather, right? When we have that enmeshment, like like it feels like there's a grip on our heart and on our soul. Like we can breathe, we can like function, right? It's too much closeness. There is such a thing. And for now that we had the experience of the pandemic, I'm sure you can relate to what I'm saying, right? There could be such a thing as too much when it comes to this. So we want to make that shift so that we are intimate, connected, and close, but not too close for comfort. That was number 4. Number 5 is boredom. And sometimes when we get too much into a routine, too much of a rhythm, too much of life having all of these things, and too busy and too full and packed with everything else, it becomes all of the doing, all of the same things, all the same routine over and over and over and over. And it's like, and for those of you who can't see me, if you're just listening to the podcast and not watching the video, I'm tapping my forehead like, duh, it's too much, right? That level of life is soul sucking. It's really, it creates burnout. It doesn't inspire. It doesn't generate energy. It doesn't give spark. It doesn't stimulate. It doesn't give joy. It doesn't create the awesomeness of life. You're not really living life. You're doing life. There's a difference. We don't want to do. We do too much. Our whole life is about doing, right? We're missing the point. Okay. So with that, what's missing is more of stimulation and good energy. And so we want to change things up to be able to create that and not be so rote in our life. So I'm going to go back through the five again. I'm going to get more specific in terms of what you can do to address any of these culprits that might resonate for you if you're experiencing them in your life. And listen, and if you have a lot of them, or if you have all of them, it's okay. No judgment, right? This is just awareness. There's insight here. Now you know that, like, oh man, well, not for nothing. I'm not interested. Not for nothing, I'm not feeling it. Not for nothing, I don't have the energy for it. Not for nothing, we haven't been intimate in this long. Not for nothing, whatever you're going through in your life. Okay. So it's all good. We're here to get that awareness, to recognize what's happening, and to do something about it. Okay. So I'm going to go through more specific things to do for the five culprits. And then I'm going to also address, like I said before, as part of the plan for today, part two of today's presentation, which is going to be addressing more relational dynamic things that might be getting in the way. And that's potentially why some of these culprits got created in the first place, you see? So we're gonna start going a little deeper as we go. So for the five, for number one of part one, that one was exhaustion. So I already mentioned to clear the decks as much as possible, to create some leisure, to create some spaciousness, to move slower, to have less things, right? All of that, just basic stuff. What I want to add here is the icing on that cake, which is, and again, if you've been following me, you've heard this before, is to integrate a self love practice into your lifestyle. Please don't roll your eyes. Don't huff and puff. Don't have resistance about this. You're shooting yourself on your foot if you're doing those things. Okay, just stay open minded. Self love means that you are going to approach your life in a way that's really going to take care of you so that you can really have the life you want. Okay, this is like a must. It's not negotiable. You can't afford not to do this. So a self-love practice in a nutshell. And also I do have other content that talks about this. There is another podcast on the self-love practice that came out at the beginning of January, just because in January we practice the new habits and all the new things. And you could check that one out for more specifics. Okay. But for now, the highlights, just to hook you up with this, is that the self-love practice has four parts: self-honoring, self-management, self-care, and self connection. I actually call them aspects. So, the four aspects of the self love practice, when you engage with them to the degree that serves you, as much or as little as you like, then you will recharge, replenish, start sparkling again, creating that awesomeness. Okay. This is what's going to help you not have that exhaustion and have your own back. And so you're going to play with those four aspects. With the self honoring has to do with honoring your time, your boundaries, yourself, your desires, your goals, just everything about you that you want to allow to come through and not be stifled and really be honored. Self management has to do with how you line up your day and your schedule and all your things. Self care has to do with doing all of the basics with food, nutrition, exercise, sleep, hydration, supplements, all of that whole angle, which is usually what people talk about when they talk about self care. We're going to really drill in with that. And actually, I have a podcast. The last one that came out has to do about that self care aspect. So you could drill even more if this is the thing that you need. And then you're going to build that into your lifestyle. And listen, I'm offering you a lot of things, and I'm going to offer you even more as this conversation continues. You don't have to do all of it, right? It might feel like you're telling me not to do stuff, Emma, but yet look at all this stuff you're giving me to do. It might sound counterintuitive, but I don't want you to do all of it. You see, this is where you get to use your discernment and your judgment. You get to say to yourself, out of the five culprits, which is the one that's kicking my butt That's the one that I need to address first. And let me focus on that. And how do I want to focus it? Come up with out of all the things that I'm saying, what lights up for you, what stands out for you, what resonates for you and for your life, and play with that, you see? And that in and of itself will create a momentum and will spread. It will have a domino effect and it will take care of you. Okay. So you don't have to do all of the things. Find the thing that really works for you, that really would work for you, that resonates the most for you. And then play with that, leverage that one so it affects everything else. Okay. So please hang on to that note there. Okay. So then for domesticity, I already mentioned that playing those roles squashes that essence of us. It gets all covered up and we don't get to really shine and radiate and have that good energy that creates the attraction between us. Therefore, what I want to offer for this one is to create special time, couple time, where you just get to be a couple, where you're not husband and wife, you're not partners, you're not parents, you're not all the things. You're romantical partners, like I like to say. And just the two people are hanging out. The essence of the two people are showing up to the moment. And you're engaging in an activity that tickles both of you. Or one of you more, but the other one just enjoys the fact that the partner's tickled. Okay. And with this one also, I usually like to add dating, and there were some other things as I continue this presentation today. There's more things I'm going to add to this element so that it creates more and more of that connection, deeper connection, more nourishing connection, more spark. Okay, so stay tuned for what else is coming for this. But for now, just create into your routine consistent, protected couple time. For number 3, for expectations, I kind of already threw this one out there, and I just want to highlight it a little bit more. And it had to do with sharing the expectations, what the expectations are, right? I said it the other way around, and like your partner might not know what the expectations are. And so, more specifically, then is share what the expectations are. Share the things that you like, share the things that you desire, share the things that give you joy, share the things that give you pleasure, share the things that you would like, share the things that make things easier for you, share all of the things, right? And in so doing, then your partner knows how to show up for you, how to have your back, and vice versa, right? And with this one, not only that, but also, are there any negative beliefs, any negativity bias that continues to play there? How you're looking at things, how you're looking at your partner, how they always let me down in this way. That's a script, right? And it's driven by some wound and some limiting beliefs and something else playing out there. So you have to do that work for yourself in unearthing what the drivers are for your stuff. So if you're having these negative beliefs as programs, you're not showing up very nice, right? And even if your partner's doing everything perfect, you're still going to see something wrong. And there's no such thing as perfection, but you know what I mean. Like if they're showing up to the best of their ability and it's pretty darn good, and you still see fault with it, there's a program there, right? You're not receiving. There's a limiting belief. There's just funky stuff playing out. And so not only be clear with the expectations and share stuff, but also see what are the drivers behind all of the things that you want and how you're looking at things when you're not getting that. Okay. That's the little hint there. That's very important. So play with your programs, play with your beliefs, see what the scripts, all this stuff that might be holding you back, that's getting in the way of you really genuinely experiencing your partner and having clean communication and clean connections. Okay, for enmeshment, this is the fun one. So for enmeshment, what we want to do is nurture individuality. Now, again, this might sound intuitive because we're trying to create connection. And so we might think that we want more togetherness, not more separateness, right? But the hint here, or the tip is that we don't want to be silos and just be complete so separate that there is nothing together, that there's no together, there's no couple, there's no relationship. That's not what I'm suggesting. I'm suggesting that it's okay to be you. to be your own person, to be your own individual, to have your own feelings, your own thoughts, your own interests, your own preferences, right? You could have a very strong connection and be a very strong couple and still have a very strong individuality. You don't have to become a more massive blob of thing because you're a couple where there is no individual in there, right? If anything, the more than the individuals are there, that's where the attraction is, because you were attracted to the other person when you met them. You weren't attracted to a blob or part of you, right? That doesn't make any sense. So we want to make sure we hang on to that. Like, what makes me special? What makes my husband special? Right? What's unique and different about us? How do we connect and nurture that? How do we play with it and enjoy it and relish it and then generate good energy? And then we get to bring that back and bring more yumminess into our time that we do have together, because now we're showing up with like renewed spark, right? Really honoring of ourselves and just really yummy stuff. And so with this one, what we want to do is create me time and protect it and use it well, right? We don't want to just be like, oh, it's me time, and you just waste it and throw it out the window. You want to use it to do things that really light up your heart, that makes your heart sing, that makes you feel really good, that really touches you and plays with your passions and your gifts and expands your just who you are, right? Use that time to become more who you are. That's an investment in your relationship. Okay. Didn't see that coming, did you? Okay, so the next one, the last one for the culprits is boredom. And the antidote for boredom is to do things differently and to change things up. That's probably a no-brainer. But when it comes to the relationship and connection and intimacy and passion and desire and all these yummy things, what we want to the way that changing things up looks like is changing up the routine, the flow of life, the commitments, the lifestyle, the things that we engage in together and individually, and expanding on our intimacy repertoire, right? So the whole gamut. We want to play with and changing things up and adding different touches and sprinkling different things, differentness all over the place. Now, that will keep you on your toes, that will keep you alert, not creating stress, not creating overwhelm, not overdoing it. I will never suggest any of that. Just to make life different. Okay, here and there, we want to add newness, and that will be the antidote for boredom. Okay, we want to add stimulation. We want to stimulate our senses, stretch our brain, interact differently, show up differently, feel differently, different energy. You see, automatically everything's different. It's so beautiful. Okay, so those are the five culprits, what they look like, and how to fix them. Now I'm going to move into relationship dynamic. I'm going to do a highlight because, like I mentioned before, I have a whole episode for that. I have YouTube videos on that. I have all kinds of content on this, blog posts, all kinds of stuff. And I'm going to cover it as by highlighting the successful relationship strategy, its 5 elements, and how they impact what we've been talking about. All right. So, the first element of the successful relationship strategy is mindset. And I think that you could already pretty much grab from the conversation that we're having so far that if you're having crooked thoughts, limiting beliefs, weird scripts, weird ideas about expectations in relationships and how things work and whatever, that you will not gonna have a good experience of your partner and your relationship. You're probably torturing yourself, right? And you're probably fighting a lot and you're getting each other's nerves a lot. And of course, then your desire will be low, your connection will be low, your intimacy will be low, and you're not gonna be having a great time in your relationship. So the main thing to do here is to watch that, what's running through your head, what are you subscribing to, and you need to clean that up. Okay. Number 2 is communication. So the first element was mindset. Context and mindset. The second element is communication and alignment. So this is where we get to expand our communication skills, tools, and repertoire, where we get to step it up in how we do all of our exchanges, showing up, communicating, addressing things, resolving conflict, even apologizing. You could step up all of that. How do you do everything? Whether you're communicating with your words or just with your body, all of it could probably stand to be stepped up and upgraded. Okay. So do some homework, figure out some resources. Again, I have all the podcasts and all the YouTube videos and all the blogs and stuff. You could use my content and step it up a notch. Okay. Number 3 is clarity and dynamics. This is where our emotional patterns get in the way, where our wounds get triggered, our sensitivities get triggered, our defense mechanisms show up. My partner does something, I react. My partner does something, triggers me, I react. In my reaction, it triggers them. So then they react, they do something, it triggers us some more. We react some more, it triggers them some more, and we're stuck in a loop, right? And so the key here is to figure out, okay, what are my sensitivities? What are my wounds? What are the things that I need to stretch in and reprogram, deprogram, and get rid of, and clean up, and address, and heal, and grow? What are my partners? How do we work together to meet each other's needs? How do I meet my own needs? It's not my partner's job to get all my needs met, right? It's their job, air quotes, to meet my relational needs and to meet some of my other needs, and just to be a good partner and support my journey, my growth, and my evolution and my healing, my becoming my best self and my who I really am. But it's not their job. It's not their responsibility, right? It's a nice thing to have in the relationship. One of the points of being in a relationship, and vice versa, right? But so then how do I meet my own needs, and how do I make requests and address things so my partner could help me by them meeting my needs or supporting me meeting my own needs, right? And how can we be mindful not to trigger each other? And when we do, how do we go about that differently so we have a healing experience? So there's a bunch of stuff here, okay? So you could play with this as well. Then the next one is actually connection, and I'm gonna say more in the last part of this recording. But for now, connection, intimacy is just that, right? How do we connect with each other in a way that serves us both? How do I connect to myself? Because then, if I'm connected to myself, I'm actually present in my own bodysuit. And when my partner interacts with me, he's interacting with me, not just some blob of meat, right? And so, first connect to myself, then show up to an interaction. Beautiful. And then share what's going on in my internal world, share what's going on in my thinking. And it needs to be clean. It needs to be about what's happening for me, my experiences, my thoughts, not how you suck. This is not how we communicate, and this is not how we create connection. We speak about ourselves, right? And then we build in good practices around developing, enriching, and deepening that connection and that intimacy, which is going to be in part 3. And the last one of the elements of the successful relationship strategy is collaboration. And this helps a lot with some of those culprits because it helps with the exhaustion. If you're dividing and conquering, then one partner is not overdoing the doing, they have more support. It helps with that, with the domesticity. You could create different ways of doing collaborating in your home and in your life, visioning and creating dreams, right? So then you're tapping into all kinds of other things, and you could just make it more yummy, more robust, more rich. So with collaboration, how do we create systems and way of collaborating that it's not a grind and it's not conflict and it's not friction every time that we have to get something done, but we figure out a way to get on the same page and to get things done. Okay. So those are the 5 elements. As you could see from mindset, communication, wounds, triggers, connection, and collaboration, all of those things will have an impact on the culprits. If you're looking at things funny, if you're communicating funny, if you're overwhelmed, if you're triggered, if you're not feeling connected, it will show up in all of the places, right? It makes sense that your connection and your intimacy will be more deeply affected, impacted. Okay, so for part 3, this is the fun part. of the whole presentation today. So, what I want you to do is to think for yourself, okay, what's the deal with my relationship? Where's my relationship at? What's the status of my relationship? Do I need to build a relationship because it's feeling unsafe, not secure, unstable, conflictual, disconnected, funky, right? Which is all of those things is usually why people come to see us for couples therapy or marriage counseling because it's just not feeling right. Like you're not synchronizing, you're not getting your needs met. You might be fighting a lot and getting on each other's nerves, potentially considering even leaving each other just because you just can't make it work. If that's the case, then we need to do relationship building. Now, if your relationship is fairly good and you're just like, we have an amazing relationship, but we're having a hard time getting to the intimacy place more better just because all these things, life happens, just like we've been talking about today. And I would just love to spice it up a bit. Let's make the relationship even better. How do we get to the eroticism and romance and passion and the yummy stuff? And for that, we call it passion building. Okay. So choose for yourself. And of course, you want that too if you're building your relationship. I get it. But it's hard to build that stuff if you're not getting along. Okay. This is where people get tripped up. So we got to do first things first. It doesn't mean that you never have sex again. That's not what I'm saying. That means that you continue to do your intimacy like you usually do while you do your relationship building. And we could do some other things in there too, right? Once you hear what I'm going to offer, it doesn't mean that you don't work on that at all. Don't invest in that at all. Don't play with that at all. That's not what I'm saying. But you're more focused on the other side because once your relationship is stronger and more built, then it's much easier to do the other stuff and more fun, right? You'll get more bang for your buck, if you may. Okay, so for relationship building, what we want to do is address your attachment love. Usually, what's happening here is that you're not feeling very secure or very loved or very connected. And what would need to happen is to do nurturing of the relationship and of each other. And so we would do that through connection habits. Okay, and I'm going to give you some examples of those in a second. And then if you're working on passion building, what we want to work is on passion love. And what that looks like is that we want to building alluring habits. And for the first one, we do nurturing. For the second one, we do enticing. So if your relationship needs more building, we're going to do nurturing. We're going to work on attachment love and creating security and connection and making it work better. And if you're looking for passion, we're going to do enticing love, where we're going to building some alluring habits just to spice things up. And this is on a spectrum, guys. Okay. So it doesn't mean that, they're different worlds. It might feel like they're different worlds. But you could slide back and forth depending on the status of your relationship at any given moment. Okay. So it doesn't mean that it's so discrete and it's either this or this. You could slide. Nobody's stuck anywhere. Sometimes we might feel much better about a relationship and it's easier to go to to the other side where you could be more spicy. And at other times we're really struggling and there's no way that we're going to be intimate. Right. And so it depends on what's going on at any given time and the season of life that your relationship is in. And it's so good. There's no right, there's no wrong, there's nothing happening. You just play with what you have and you make the best of it and you create what you like. Okay. So to wrap up, I'm going to give you some examples of each of those and what the connection habits are if you're doing nurturing and relationship building, and what the alluring habits are if you're doing enticing and passion building. All right. So for connection habits, we have things like morning coffee, midday check in, delighting your partner, doing a daily debrief, having meaningful conversations, having an appreciation session, having the couple time that I was talking about before, having sexy time. Like I said, doesn't mean that you're not having sex anymore. Having a dating your partner plan, planning fun, doing some visioning for life and creating the life that you want, doing relationship enrichment. Those are just some examples. Okay. So you could use those to spark other ideas for yourself. Now, I'm going to give you some resources to help you with this. Okay. If you go to my blog and you put in connection habits, you're going to get a bunch of blog posts that could help you. That's number one. Number two, visit some of the podcasts I already mentioned from prior episodes. And number three, this is what's really cool about today's conversation. If you join our Radiance membership, you get our 3-day relationship enrichment 2.0 retreat at no additional cost. Okay, the membership is only $29 per month. You keep it for as long as you want. You could cancel it at any time. And when you sign up for that, you get the whole retreat. It's recorded. You could do it at your own time, in your own pace, in your own comfort of your own home. And you can create your own little retreat experience and you do it however you like. And this is a great way of investing in your relationship and building those connection habits. Okay, taking your relationship to the next level. So check that out. We're making it available this month for Valentine's Day. It's going to stay in the membership, but we just put it up for you. And I hope that you take advantage of that. It's going to be really amazing for you to have. Okay. And then I mentioned the Date Your Partner. There's a free resource also on our website. If you go to resources, we have for February a Date Your Partner protocol. It's a one-page downloadable, is free. And with that, you could properly date your partner so the essence shows up and you do the couple time in the dating properly. Okay. And then lastly, we created a Valentine's Day experience. It's not the day, which is today. It's on the 18th. It's coming up. It's a Valentine's experience. And it is going to be amazing, groundbreaking work on deepening your connection, really creating a nourishing connection with your partner, deepening it. And there's a whole experience on how to do that. And a surprise around creating a piece of art to take with you at the end. You don't have to be artistic to participate and to enjoy the experience. So check it out. I'm going to put all of these links in the show notes. And those are all different ways to invest in your relationship, to nourish it, to expand your love and experience your love this month and thereafter. Okay. And then for the alluring habits, so here's some other ones just to make things more spicy and to move more towards the other side of the spectrum. And so here are a few: erotic reading, erotic watching, sexy shopping, sexy research, tantric meditation, self-pleasure, dress up, go naked, sensual bath, massage as a gift, makeout time, anything that gives you pleasure. You get the idea, right? So you could play with all of those, extrapolate and make them your own and really have fun. So those are just some ideas just to kind of spark some of the juices there. And you can take it to the next level for yourself and explore them and play with them. Okay, my loves, I hope that you enjoy that. I would love to hear what you liked about today, what resonated for you in terms of the culprits, what might be in the way in terms of the 5 elements of the successful relationship strategy, where you might need support or what you need to play with, and which one of the sides of the spectrum are you playing with the most at this time, and which one of those habits sounded really good to you. So anything of those things that you want to share, I would love to hear. Let us know how you're doing, what you loved most about today. And I wish you the best Valentine's Day and much love today, this month, and always. Until the next one, bye.